and stream on Paramount Plus.
Coming up, mixed reviews about a proposed flood wall in Paintsville.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. We're going to begin tonight with some breaking news out of Middlesboro, where police tell us a golden alert has been issued for a woman who may be in Tennessee. Brooke Marie Vreeland is described as having brown hair and brown eyes. She is also intellectually disabled. She was last seen on Sunday evening near the Stone Creek Drive, No Town Road area of Middlesboro. Police say she may be in the company of a man in Granger County, Tennessee, under questionable circumstances. If you know anything, you're asked to call either Middlesboro Police at 606-248-3636 or the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-TBI-FIND or 800-824-3463. Lance Storrs was in court this morning for a virtual meeting as a date was set for the Allen man who's accused of killing 3 police officers and a canine during a June 30th shootout in Floyd County. Storrs was conferenced in virtually during the morning docket in Floyd County, where his arraignment was set after an indictment came down from a grand jury Monday. Local leaders and officials say this trial will be a long one and they hope for justice, but regardless of the trial's outcome, there are some things, like the loss of life, that the area may never fully recover from.
Think about it, we lost 2 police officers that had 70 years experience between them. How do you ever replace that? I don't know that it's possible.
Storrs is set for arraignment August 1st at 1 p.m. An Eastern Kentucky police chaplain is reflecting on his response to the shooting. Gary Sloan says he talked with several first responders the night of and the day after the events unfolded. He said many first responders were numb. Some sat in silence while others cried and shouted in anger. He says healing will take time.
Grief comes in various stages, and that night was just the initial phase of their grief process. That grief process is going to continue for many weeks to come.
Sloan tells us he's talked with at least 50 first responders following the shootout. A country music artist from Central Kentucky has a new children's book out that he hopes teaches children about trusting and supporting law enforcement. Eddie Montgomery from Montgomery Gentry co-authored Police Officers, Our Friends. It is set in his hometown of Danville. And as Chad Hedrick reports, the timing of this book comes as Floyd County is needing support.
They're the brave men and women behind the badge.
We got to back our heroes.
That country music star Eddie Montgomery says his new children's book is all about
our guys, man, and girls, man, our heroes, our American heroes, they're getting a bad rap. And I just got tired and sick of it myself, and to all of us. And it's like, you know what? It's time.
The book is co-written by Randy Graham and illustrated by Michael Sutherland. It explains the roles police have in communities and encourages children to support and respect them.
You know, because when they come up to a stoplight, they don't know whether it's going to be a friend pull up beside them or a foe. You know, it's going to be shooting at them or something.
The book's release comes as Floyd County grieves the loss of 3 officers and a canine. Monday, County Attorney Keith Bartley called on the support to continue for the community as the departments grieve these losses.
It's absolutely amazing that, from my perspective, the support that these families and these police agencies have had. You know, I saw people from almost every state in America come to these funerals, and that's great. But to me, it's the support that they get once all that is over. It's the support that they get going forward. It's the day-to-day support that police officers don't get.
Bartley says he worries about the lasting impacts the shooting will have on the departments as officers leave the force and fewer come in to replace them.
I believe you will have somewhat of an exodus of people leaving the police community, and I believe that you will struggle to find people to step up to do those jobs in this area. And therefore, I think the impact may be forever. It certainly will be long term.
A concerning shift that Montgomery hopes his book turns the page on.
And they're putting their life on the line for us every day.
Chad Hedrick, WYMT Mountain News.
Co-author Randy Graham says they want communities and police officers to have a sense of ownership with the book and use it for community policing and building relationships between families and their local departments. You can order Police Officers, Our Friends online. We'll have a link to their website in this story on WYMT.com. And we have this heartwarming video tonight. Floyd County Sheriff's Deputy Darren Lawson is recovering at UK Hospital following that shootout in Allen. Madison Nunnery, Lawson's fiance, posted this video on Facebook tonight showing Lawson reuniting with their 2-year-old daughter, Ryan. Certainly very heartwarming to see.
Well, we're continuing to watch that cold front finally push on out of the mountains. And what does that mean? Well, we're calming down after some strong to severe storms a little bit earlier on and still watching some flooding in parts of the mountains. Outside at the moment, I-75 at Mount Vernon, all is quiet. Not too much going on weather-wise outside right now after our storms from earlier. Downtown Whitesburg, it's all clear. Upper 60s to near 70. As we continue to see some muggy conditions. Our severe weather outlook, the slight risks still took in part of Buchanan County, Virginia. They still are dealing with some thunderstorms right now. That marginal risk for the rest of the area, but I think we're done with the severe weather for tonight. With the exception of Buchanan County, Virginia. Gotten several reports, media reports and dispatchers confirming flash flooding along Slate Creek near Squire Branch, about 8 miles east-northeast of Grundy, and multiple other reports of flash flooding into portions of Buchanan County. So that's something we're going to have to watch as we head into the next couple of days, as we are still watching some of that heavy rain pushing through portions of Buchanan County. But that is it. Everybody else, we had a few trees knocked down, but for the most part, not a whole lot of damage around the region, and we'll continue to see those storms moving out for tonight. It was a warm one today before those storms moved in, upper 80s to near 90. We're still in the upper 60s to near 70. Those dew points slowly falling. Now, as we head through the rest of the night, we've got calmer conditions prevailing. I'll detail those coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. Well, speaking of flooding, an informational public meeting was held in Paintsville tonight by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The purpose, to update the public on major flood prevention projects that will soon be taking place across the city. WYMT's Keaton Hall has more on the scope and effect of the projects.
Nick McKenzie has lived on Walnut Avenue in Paintsville for more than 15 years. He's concerned the construction of a new flood wall right across from his home could impact property values and the community at large.
We're all concerned because this is one of the better neighborhoods in Paintsville. And none of these houses have been flooded to my knowledge. And like I said, my father-in-law lived 2 houses down for 60-some years. And me and my wife have lived either on this street or Washington Avenue for 45 years.
The flood wall is part of a flood risk management project from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, hoping to lower the city's floodplain. But McKenzie's worried he and his neighbors are not getting all the information.
The Corps of Engineers has put out a 51-page document, and you have to be an engineer or a lawyer or something to read it and find out exactly what's going on.
On Tuesday night, Army Corps of Engineers officials and members of the local government held an informational meeting for people like Nick.
This was a meeting for the public. We've been having what we call stakeholder meetings for quite some time now, but we wanted to let the public know exactly how this was going to work and what it was going to look like.
But it's not just Walnut Street. Flood walls are being built all around the city. The federal project is even forcing some people from their homes.
And this is one of those things that we just thought was much needed for the city of Paintsville, for our city to move forward. But I don't blame the people that have concerns over the property value.
The Corps of Engineers says homeowners will be compensated for any loss of property. And in a city plagued by deadly floods in the past,
You know, we just hope whatever they do right by the people.
a hope for a safer future. In Paintsville, Keaton Hall, WYMT Mountain News.
Construction on the flood wall is expected to last until summer 2026. The Army Corps of Engineers is still taking comments on the project until July 28th. New laws are set to take effect Thursday from issues discussed in this year's General Assembly. One changes the punishment for people caught stealing packages from doorsteps and porches. Senate Bill 23 was designed to cut down on porch pirating. In Kentucky, that crime has only been a misdemeanor. It will now be a felony with Senate Bill 23.
That no matter what's in that package, if it's something that's worth $5 and you've taken off a porch, you could be convicted of a felony.
Police say the best deterrent is to have scheduled deliveries or have the package delivered to someone at home at the location. The new law also makes it a felony to destroy someone's mail matter. The Bluegrass Army Depot is under new leadership. This morning, the depot held a changing of command ceremony. Commanders passed the unit flag for the Bluegrass Army Depot from one person to another, showing that command is now in the hands of Colonel Brett Avizian. He most recently served as the Deputy Chief of Staff for Army Material Command in Huntsville, Alabama, taking the position as Depot Commander. He says he will carry on the long tradition of excellence at Bluegrass Army Depot.
This place existed for a very long time, and I'm excited to set the conditions for this organization to endure for decades to come.
Colonel Avazian will now oversee the completion of the depot's current missions and take the reins on the coming missions there in Madison County. Well, a new coffee shop is coming to Pikeville later this week. The Coffee Guy Cafe is scheduled to open downtown this Friday. The Coffee Guy Cafe's original location is in Pensacola, Florida, and owners Mark and Megan Tegenkamp visited for their son's graduation from optometry school. Justin and Bridget Simmons, who also owns Bears Den Nutrition, were excited to open up a new Coffee Guy Cafe franchise location after building a relationship with the Tegenkamps while visiting Pensacola sometime later.
While we were down there, we stopped by their coffee shop and ended up staying for a day or so and hanging out with their family, and just really grew our friendship throughout the year.
Bridget Simmons added that they and the Tegenkamps are excited for the grand opening on Friday and invite the community to take part in it. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, we'll hear from former Wayne County, West Virginia Delegate Derek Evans about the events of January 6, 2021 at the Capitol and his thoughts, reflections, and regrets about that day.
Plus, heat, humidity, and sunshine all returning to the forecast as we head through the rest of the work week. The very latest breakdown on the way next.
Summer has arrived, and Appalachian Wireless